Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's been quite a while since we actually recorded a new video. We kind of do everything in like spurts. We have like a week of ultra production prep beforehand, and then we make a ton of videos. And during that time, we kind of got a little bit reflective, and we wanted to take a step back from our regular scheduled content, I suppose. Today we wanted to be absolutely transparent and kind of go into more detail about how our relationships work with the companies that we review, the resin brands, our testing, all those types of things, as well as our financials. So like about this channel, how do we make money in this business, in this channel, things like that. So when we originally started this channel, we really didn't have a long-term plan in place. We just kind of like started whipping things out randomly. We didn't have a schedule, nothing like that. And since COVID has hit, this whole crisis, I guess, for lack of a better term, has given us a lot of extra time in which to redevelop and invest more of our time back into the business. And along with that, it has given us so many new opportunities that we just need to start to be a lot more aware of what those mean and a lot of the implications that go along with working with other companies. So let's start out by talking about how we approach reviews. Castable resin reviews have been a cornerstone of this channel pretty much since the beginning. And it has culminated in quite a long playlist for you guys to watch of all these different types of castables. So over the past year, our process has become a lot more standardized, including specific models, a very standard order of operations, and a ranked scale. This process usually takes us about 2 weeks, depending on the popularity of the resin and how soon we're able to get our hands on the sample. Now, it's very essential that we do take this amount of time once we get our hands on the resin to put it through its paces properly. So it hasn't really been an issue for us to date, though I know it is a pervasive issue throughout the whole review YouTube community, where we may feel pressure either from you, the subscribers, or from the manufacturers that we're reviewing to produce these reviews faster. However, we don't really do that at all. We want to take as much time as we possibly can and review the resin to its fullest so that we have all the information that's relevant in the video as best we can. Now, we do also have that ranked list, which does have more features considering more about price, origin, things like that. We also have some blog posts where we're talking a bit more in depth about some of the issues that we had. For example, like, does it stick to the build plate too well? Is it able to just come off easily? There's other different things that we can't necessarily include in the video because it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense in terms of a narrative, but it's still relevant information. So we're trying to do our due diligence between making an entertaining video and being very thorough in our investigation. So regarding product partners, to date, we really haven't had too many. However, we do have several lined up in the very near future. So if you haven't already subscribed, maybe do so that you don't miss out on those. So generally how this works out is we have a request, either from you guys, the subscribers, or maybe the manufacturer reaches out. Very rarely do we reach out to a manufacturer. Either way, what we do is Shannon will reach out to them via emails, or we'll set up Zoom calls or something like that, and we'll discuss what exactly we want to happen. Us as the reviewers, we are always taking a very independent stance. We never ever let the manufacturers influence our reviews, even if they've sent us free product. And if in the near future, when we possibly do have some more sponsored videos, it will be fully disclosed at the very beginning of the video that this is going to be more of a salesy type video. Now, just because a manufacturer or a subscriber or whomever may want us to review a certain product, resin, printer, whatever, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to happen. If the product that you want us to review is dangerous or isn't legal in some way, shape, or form, especially applies to the resins with the chemical content. I'm not going to call out anyone specifically, but there are companies that have to specifically formulate their resins depending on which country they want to be selling in. And that really does limit how well we can review, unfortunately, but it is a fact of the matter. And especially when we're talking about chemicals like, resins, they can be dangerous. They can be dangerous for the environment. And all of these things are taken into consideration before we even consider making a video about a product. Likewise with 3D printers. If a 3D printer company reaches out to us and asks us to review a machine, I have to be behind the machine. I'm not going to take on a ultra budget printer and try to spin it in such a way that it makes you guys want to buy it. I'm just not interested, frankly. In the near future, we are not necessarily going to be looking at the bottom of the barrel type machines. We're looking at the top of the range machines because we realize that a lot of our viewers are professional jewelers, casting houses and stuff like that, that may want to, actually have a machine that they don't have to think too much about. I think that's one of the best definitions of a good tool, is that it does the job well, it does it the first time, or hopefully the first time, and it's going to pay for itself. We tend to approach printers from a tool standpoint, mostly on this channel. So I'm kind of under the assumption that if you're buying this machine, it's going to someday pay for itself. I just can't really advocate for buying these ultra budget machines at ultra super early bird prices when, frankly, some customers are just receiving them broken straight out of the factory. I just don't see that as acceptable. So if we decide to review a product, essentially, as I mentioned to you before, unless it states that it's a sponsored video, all of our reviews are essentially free. No money exchanges hands for any review videos, but we do get the product generally for free. For the manufacturing side, we do not promise them any specific outcome. We do not give them any final say on our opinions. Everything in the video is up to us. And unless we come to an agreement with the company where they might need it out by a certain time, say like a launch date, we don't promise any kind of specific outcome or delivery date so that we can have the ample amount of time that we need to actually experience the product. It's not just going to be, ripped through and regurgitated for you guys really fast. So although you can't buy a review from us, we have partnered with certain companies in terms of affiliate programs and for research and development. So this moves us pretty well onto the financial side of this channel. How on earth do we make money? And frankly, I ask myself that quite a bit. The vast majority of our income actually just comes from us being a jewelry studio. We don't have a whole lot of product that we sell outside, like as a finished thing, a pair of earrings or whatever, but we do a lot of work with other businesses. So we have in-person clients that we work with for custom projects. We teach courses in person. We have a lot of other clients that are in the US, the UK, around the world in general. And we also have others where we're doing, effectively producing what they want to sell. So we may do runs of 100 pieces or runs of 200, whatever. Injecting molds, 3D printing, etc. for them. And then we ship them the finished product. When we actually calculated all of our YouTube-related earnings from AdSense, memberships, merch, and affiliate earnings, this only accounted for, to date, now mind you, these numbers are going to fluctuate. To date, it only counts for 9% of our overall income this year. So this channel really is not a main source of income for us. We're not doing this so that you guys can pay our way through life, really. One of the related to YouTube sources of income, but not fully directly, is also having to do with our R&D efforts, working with other companies. Due to the amount of knowledge that we've accumulated in this direct-to-cast resin niche, I suppose, some companies have reached out to us to either test different formulations or educate their teams about the casting process. Things like, this surface texture can be related to XYZ type of issues, educating them about how they can better serve you guys, the clients. We have worked with companies that we have reviewed, as well as companies that have not yet actually released their resins to the public quite yet. Typically, we don't discuss these partnerships publicly, as the testing usually involves an NDA where we are just simply not allowed to talk about it. However, with regards to casting different formulations, when eventually we do review that resin, that is disclosed that we did at least help with the R&D process, just to alleviate any bias, because we don't want to, having gone through testing this resin in so many different iterations, be swayed in one direction or the other. And also, a lot of those different formulations will simply never be available to the public, so it's kind of irrelevant to talk about them anyway. And lastly, if the company decides to alter a formulation based off of our recommendations, they may or may not choose to follow that, and typically they don't usually tell us that they are in fact going to be taking our advice. So I hope that helps clear things up. We haven't had many complaints, but before we even got any, we just wanted to be abundantly clear about how we handle things. So as we've had a tremendous amount of opportunities so far this year, we simply want to set up a level of transparency within our community so that you guys know exactly what to expect from us. After all, the reason we initially started to make videos is still the same reason that we're making them today. We're trying to make casting and jewelry making more accessible to everybody. And on a little bit of a different note, in the way that we're going to be pushing this channel forward, you may have noticed a few little things in the last couple of videos. We are looking into getting better sound. As you can see, a little mic. We have a proper voice recorder. We're looking into a better camera. We're trying to update our studio lighting. So look forward to seeing much higher quality videos in the very near future with this channel. So we apologize in advance that this week's video really wasn't all that entertaining, but we felt like it was very necessary for us to make this and tell you guys exactly what and how we do things. So if you have any questions, feel free to use that comment section below, and we look forward to hearing from you guys. So that's all. I will see you guys in the next video.